good. You are so very welcome. What I'd like to do is share your bio for those of our audience who have not had an opportunity to meet you. And once I share your biographical sketch, then we will have a dialogue. But I will just share for those that are new the goal of Legally Speaking, which is simply to inform women and men about legal issues for women. And we would like for everybody to know that we are not sharing legal advice today. The information is just for information and for maybe clarity on some issues that you may have. However, if you have a pending legal issue, our recommendation is that you reach out to a local attorney in your area that can represent you and provide you with legal advice. So let's go ahead and share the biographical sketch of Gayla Carpenter Sanders. Gayla is the Executive Director and General Counsel of the Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project, better known as MVLP. Since joining MVLP as Executive Director and General Counsel in 2014, Carpenter Sanders has expanded the agency's programs from its family law programs to include pro bono opportunities in both the circuit courts and federal courts of Mississippi. Particularly, MVLP has expanded its general program to include the Mississippi Settlement Assistance Program, Mississippi Free Legal Answers, and the Mississippi Foreclosure Prevention Program. Under her leadership, MVLP has tripled the number of free legal clinics hosted across the state, serving more than 350 individuals annually. It was named a top nonprofit in the state of Mississippi by the Mississippi Business Journal in 2019 and in 2021. Prior to assuming her position with MVLP in 2014, Gayla was in private practice for 10 years as a litigation associate specializing in family law, premises liability, and insurance defense. She received her undergraduate degree from Tougaloo College and her Juris Doctorate from the University of Florida School of Law. She's a member of the American Bar Association, the Mississippi Bar Association, the Magnolia Bar Association, the Mississippi Women Lawyers Association, Capital Area Bar Association, and the Madison County Bar Association. Gayla is a past member of the Mississippi Bar's Women in the Profession Committee, where she served as chair of the Susie B. Buckingham Awards Committee in 2012 and was a participant in 2014 of the Mississippi Bar Leadership Forum. She's a past recipient of the 2011 MVLP Pro Bono Award. She's also been recognized as a Super Lawyers Mid-South Rising Star in Insurance Defense in 2012, 2013, and 2014, and in legal services in 2015 and 16. Gayla was named to the Lawyers of Color Hot List for 2014 and received the 2014 Board of Directors Award from the Hinds County Human Resource Agency. She's also the 2015 recipient of the Public Service Award from the Magnolia Bar Association. Gayla she's also named a leader in the law in 2015 by the Mississippi Business Journal. In the community, she's been active on the executive board of both the McWillie Elementary PTA and the Power APAC PTA. She was named Parent of the Year as Power APAC in 2019. She's the president of the Pearl Connection and president of the Murrah High School Soccer Booster Club. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. Gayla is married to attorney Marvin Sanders, and she has a stepdaughter who is a student at Alcorn State University. She has two sons who are students in the JPS school system. Without further ado, I present Miss Attorney Gayla Carpenter Sanders. Let's give her a warm welcome to Legally Speaking.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you. And again, thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to our dialogue today.
Yeah, well, such an impressive bio. You have been really, really busy in a short period of time, and I commend you on all the great work. And the one I like to highlight the most are the PTA activities. Because, us moms, we wear so many hats.
That's right. That's right.
So
and it's very fulfilling.
Yes. So what we'll do today, since we're here for Legally Speaking, let's just start by highlighting your daily life in, or a day in the life of Gayla.
Okay.
Just tell us.
Okay, so Gayla, as you heard, is a wife and a mother, and those are the roles that are those are my top priorities: being a good wife and being a good mother. And so my day starts with making sure everybody is ready to get to where they need to be, whether it's at school, helping me get to work, all of those types of things. And so once I get to work, it's all in for MVLP. We have a lot of people that we serve on a daily basis. We have a lot of attorneys who we interact with on a daily basis. And I have a staff of 5 individuals, 6, including myself. And so I oversee the day-to-day operations. I'm an executive director, which means I handle the administrative portion of MVLP, whether it's the budgeting, contract negotiation, insurance negotiation. And then the general counsel side is overseeing the 1,200 cases that MVLP receives each year from our clients, and overseeing the clinics that we do from all the way from the Mississippi Delta down to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And then we also have other programs that we do throughout MVLP, and I'm also the source that the attorneys refer to when they need just legal advice or assistance and additional support on the cases that they're handling for MVLP. And then, of course, when I get home, it's back to being mom again. My boys are avid soccer players, and so we're on a soccer field every day of the week, Monique, every day. And on weekends when they have tournaments, it's all day on the weekends. So that's my life. That's the day in the life of me. All fulfilling, and I just take it one day at a time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the great work that you're doing with Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project. Why is it important in Mississippi that we have MVLP?
Right. So for those individuals who do not know what MVLP is, it's a nonprofit that provides legal assistance to individuals who cannot afford to hire an attorney. And we make that we make that decision based on what their income is, what their debt is. They provide all that information to us, and we look at the federal poverty guidelines. And once we deduct their expenses, their income, we look at their income, we make a determination as to whether or not they're eligible for our services. And so we really try to help those individuals who are indigent and those who are working but still do not have the resources to hire a private attorney. So we receive our assistance through grants, and those grants make it possible for attorneys to provide that legal assistance. And they provide resources for our day-to-day operations. But the attorneys donate their time to the organization. So an attorney like yourself who's in private practice, would donate their free time. Well, I shouldn't say free time because attorneys don't really have a lot of free time, but they donate a portion of their day to helping an individual who cannot afford an attorney. And so it's important to Mississippi in particular to have an organization like MVLP because we have 2.8 million people who live in Mississippi. And of that 2.8 million, 564,000 of those individuals are in poverty. They live in poverty. The percentages are, I think it's 24% of Mississippi children live in poverty and 21% of Mississippi women live in poverty. We have 2 legal aid programs, and between those 2 legal aid programs, there's a limited number of staff attorneys that can handle cases for every indigent person in Mississippi who needs assistance. And so that's where MVLP comes in. We fill in that gap. We provide that legal support to that individual who needs it. And we do it through the goodness of attorneys that are in our profession, in the legal profession, that are part of the Mississippi Bar.
Awesome. So are you able to handle all legal issues, or do you cover a particular area of law?
Yes. So we do not handle every legal issue. There in Mississippi, a lot of attorneys, for certain types of cases, they may have a certain type of contract dealing with that particular case. So, for example, if it's a personal injury case, there may be a contingency fee agreement where the attorney will collect the attorney will collect their attorney's fees only if they collect money for the individual. And then you have some cases that are retainer fee cases, like a lot of your divorce cases, guardianships, expungements, conservatorships. Those type cases are either retainer fee cases, meaning I'm going to give you so much money to handle this case, and you're going to bill against that particular amount of money to help to help me with my case, or a flat fee. So we come in and we help with those cases that are usually your flat fee cases or your retainer fee cases. And the majority of those cases are family law cases. And so we help with adoptions, advanced health care directives, birth certificate corrections, conservatorships, desertion divorce, irreconcilable differences or no-fault divorces, eviction assistance, felony and misdemeanor expungement, name change, power of attorney, simple wills, and divorces where an individual has been sentenced to the penitentiary. So those are the types of cases that we help with, and we provide those services to individuals in 2 different ways. We can either do full representation or we do limited representation. With full representation, that's where an attorney will donate their time to provide assistance from start to finish. That means the initial consultation, drafting of the pleadings, representation in court. We also help with limited representation, and that's usually where we do our pro se legal clinics. With limited representation, the client receives the same services as full representation. The only service that they will not receive is the in-court representation. So what limited representation looks like is an individual may come to a clinic that we will host, and we place them with an attorney who will hear their legal issue and draft documents, if necessary, to help them with filing in the appropriate court. And the attorney provides instructions to the individual to represent themselves. So that's limited representation. So we provide our services in 2 different ways. For those who may not feel comfortable representing themselves in a family law matter, we will provide them full representation with an attorney.
When you mention the clinics, are they open to the public or are they specific to your clients?
So no, they are open to the public, and we do offer our clients who are in full representation, we do offer them the opportunity to go to a clinic if they want their matter handled quickly I guess, because we do work off of the availability of attorneys. And so if an attorney is not going to be available for another month or two to handle that particular person's case, then our clients are given the opportunity to go to a clinic. But generally, our clinics are open to the public. Sometimes we may limit it to a particular county. For instance, we just had a clinic back on February 4th in Hinds County Chancery Court. And so that clinic was limited to Hinds County residents. So sometimes we'll limit it to a particular county. Sometimes it may be virtual and we offer it statewide. It really just depends on the partners with MVLP, what their wishes are, because we are able to handle a lot of these clinics with the support of local bar associations, our chancery courts, and other community agencies who want to provide legal assistance to their community.
And could you provide us with some topics that the clinics may address?
So it can be anywhere between guardianships, no-fault divorces. What else would we do there? We would do some emancipation, some name change or birth certificate corrections, and expungements. The key to a lot of these cases with our clinics is whether or not they're going to be contested versus uncontested. And we tend to work mostly with those cases that are going to be uncontested. So at a clinic, you can come to that clinic to receive service, but if it's, let's say, a no-fault divorce where both parties, both the husband and wife, or both spouses have to consent to a divorce, we usually want to make sure that person has had contact with their spouse and that their spouse is on board with getting a divorce in order to make it successful. If it's a guardianship, if the parent is still living but wants to transfer custody to a grandparent, an aunt, uncle, or family friend, then we want to make sure that both the natural mother and the natural father are on board with that guardianship, because that's what helps with making sure that an individual is able to navigate the court system. Our court system, as you know, Monique, is filled with rules of civil procedure, local rules, uniform local rules for your chancery courts. And a lot of times that's difficult to navigate. I personally have to always go back and refer to the rule book just to make sure I'm doing something right, even if it's just a summons. So can you imagine?
Treat the rule book like a Bible.
Exactly. And so, if I have to pick up a rule book just to understand the rules sometimes, can you imagine someone who does not have the legal training that we have? So that's why we try to make sure that the cases that we handle in clinics are the types of cases where an individual can actually navigate the rules. They know where to go to file it. They know how many days it needs to be on file at the clerk's office before they can have a hearing. They know where to go and who to call to get a hearing. They know what to say when they go to the hearing. So all of those things we evaluate when we look at the cases to determine whether or not they'll be able to go forward with a clinic.
Well, it's just really, really great that these opportunities are there to train and educate with these clinics, because everybody, some people just don't have the funds to hire an attorney. And it's so unfortunate that they may just have to not have legal support because they can't afford an attorney. Right. And it's just really, really a good resource to be able to attend a clinic and gather information, just in case you're having to do it pro se, I guess, for your limited folks. Mm-hmm. But then you will do the full service to represent someone that may have a legal problem or issue that fits your criteria.
That's right.
So for those that are viewing today, would you share with us how an individual can apply for the services?
Sure. So, let me say our telephone is always available. And so our telephone number is 601-960-9577. and they can dial extension 100 if they don't want to listen to the entire prompt. But they can always go to extension 100 to speak with our assistant, who can do a form for them, intake form. That method takes a little longer than going online. Of course, you can get service quicker going online. I would suggest those who have the capability to go online I suggest that they actually use that online service. If they are to go online, they would go to www.mvlp.org. And the main tab that they want to look at is Get Help. When they click on the Get Help tab, what they will see, the first prompt says apply online or apply here. It's something along those lines, but you click that one. That's if you want full service. That's if you want an attorney to represent you from start to finish, go to court with you, represent you in a hearing. You would use that first prompt. If you're interested in clinics, you would just simply click on the link under that Get Help tab that says clinics, and it will list all of the clinics that we have available for 2022. I can tell you that year 2022, I would suggest that an individual looks at our clinic tab monthly or maybe every other week, because we have a fluid clinic schedule right now. For the last 2 years, of course, with the pandemic, we were canceling a lot of clinics. We were having virtual clinics because a lot of our partners were uncomfortable with doing in-person clinics. This year, because the numbers are coming down, which is a great thing, we're able to do more in-person clinics. And so we have partners contacting us almost weekly to do a clinic in their community. So we've left it tight. We've left our clinic schedule kind of fluid so that we can help those partners who feel that there is a need in their communities. So an individual would either click on apply online or click clinics if they want the limited representation model.
Well, my thought is concerning maybe rural areas, they would really benefit from the clinics. So are the majority of your clinics local and in-house, or do you travel about the state to accommodate those that may be in rural areas?
Right. We travel frequently. In fact, we do maybe 25 to 30 clinics a year. And so we have a long-standing relationship with the Washington County Chancery Court and with the Sunflower Humphreys County Chancery Court, Judge Richards and Judge Giles. And so we travel to those areas because we know that that is a poverty-stricken area. And so we have a quarterly clinic in both of those, in all three of those counties yearly. We also do clinics on the Gulf Coast. We certainly have clinics in the Hinds County area because there's a large population here. In Hinds County, we have been to DeSoto County. We have been to Pike County. We've been to Forest County. There are 20, let me put it like this. There are 20 chancery districts in the state of Mississippi. MVLP is present in at least 16 of them.
Wow.
We have some chancery districts that have their own clinic model, like your first chancery district, those individuals who live in Alcorn County, Lee County, Union County, Pontotoc. They have a longstanding monthly clinic program in that district that they used to partner with MVLP on, and now, they are independent, which is what we like to see. We like to see bar associations and chancery courts taking our model and pushing it forward in their areas. But until then, we're going to be present with our clinic models because we understand that we have some counties where you may have one or two attorneys. And those attorneys can't do everything pro bono in that area. A lot of them are doing a lot of pro bono in their communities. So we try to tap into those counties to help those individuals who we know need our assistance. And then we also sometimes take a look at where we're getting a high concentration of cases. So if we see that we're getting a high concentration of family law cases in Clay County, then it's nothing for us to set up shop in Clay County. We'll be in Lafayette. I call it Lafayette, but the residents there call it Lafayette. The residents there are needing an expungement clinic. So MVLP is partnering with the Black Law Student Association at Ole Miss School of Law and the Pro Bono Institute and Butler Snow and Mississippi Center for Justice to put on an expungement clinic in the Lafayette County area. So like I said, we tend to look at our partners. What is it that they want? Because they know their communities better than MVLP. I can say all day, hey, let's go over to Lauderdale County to do a clinic. But if you don't have the community, the community stakeholders presence with those clinics, sometimes it's difficult to get the community there. So we try to make sure we have partners wherever we go. And that's how we go about making sure that we provide the services through our clinics.
Awesome. Just really good news that you are supporting the entire state. You know, we say Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project, and even though a lot of entities have their focus in Jackson, the state, is full of 82 more counties, you know? So I love the fact that you are present in the in 16 of the Chancery districts. That is awesome.
Yeah, and let me say this: Mississippi is unique in the fact that we have a statewide pro bono project. I think there may be 5 or 6 states where you have an actual statewide pro bono program. A lot of organizations focus on a particular area. So you may have a state where you may have the Birmingham Pro Bono Project. And so it covers residents in Birmingham. Mississippi has the Mississippi Volunteer Lawyers Project that will cover everyone. And, we know that there's still some areas that we have not tapped into that, that we're trying to get into to provide services to them. But I'm thankful that the incorporators of MVLP, who established this organization back in 1982, had the forethought to provide this service statewide so that it's not limited to just one particular portion of the state. It's for everyone. And I'm grateful that we have attorneys across the state. We have attorneys in a lot of our counties who will provide the service to us. So it's not just Hinds County attorneys handling cases. It's DeSoto County, it's Lauderdale County, it's Clay County attorneys. We're fortunate that we're able to work statewide, but we're also fortunate to have attorneys from those different counties to give their service to us.
Wonderful. And I hear your year of establishment is 1982. So does that mean you're celebrating 40 years this year?
That's correct. We are celebrating, and we're going to have a big celebration in October. October is Pro Bono Week. And so at the end of October, we're going to have a huge celebration for this milestone.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to be celebrated. The fact that you're serving and assisting those that need help is tremendous. And I commend you on that.
Thank you.
You mentioned earlier COVID. So my next question, has the pandemic affected the delivery of services to residents of Mississippi?
It has. When the pandemic hit when the country shut down in March of 2020, so 2 years ago, we had clinics scheduled for the entire year. And so immediately we were getting calls from the court administrators and law clerk for judges and some of our partners saying, hey, we're going to have to hold off on doing these in-person clinics. And we knew, because we were constantly getting calls, even though the rest of the country had shut down, MVLP's phones were still ringing because people needed assistance. And so what we decided to do was pivot to virtual clinics. In pivoting to virtual clinics, what we did was allowed individuals to, we started doing Know Your Rights sessions telephonically and virtually. So interestingly, we had purchased earlier in the year, we had purchased a subscription for GoToMeetings so that we could do some virtual Know Your Rights. And, who would know that 2 months later, we would actually have to use this subscription heavily. But we started doing Know Your Rights via GoToMeeting. And so you could call in or you could log in. So it was for anyone who had the means with the telephone or with the computer. So when we pivoted to that, it was open statewide for everyone. It wasn't for a specific county. What we learned from those virtual clinics, though, is that sometimes people are intimidated by the word virtual, and people tend to think that means, okay, I need to know how to access a computer. I need to know how to upload a document. I need to have a scanner. I need to have a printer. And we try to really make it as...
Also, I hate to interrupt, the share screen is the part that's intimidating for me when they
still intimidates me. That still intimidates me. So, but so, a lot of people were intimidated by the term virtual. And so we had people who, think about it, when you have grandmothers who are needing guardianship over their grandchildren, you hear the word virtual. Well, all I have is a telephone, a landline, at best. I don't know what you mean. I don't know how to navigate this. I don't have Wi-Fi. I don't have internet service in my home, so I'm not able to participate in this. So we try to, along the way, make it as easy as possible for individuals to be able to do it. But what we learned is that, that still affected how we were able, or the impact that we were able to make. Not as many people were on board with doing virtual clinics. And so over the past year and a half, I'll say, we've started slowly but surely getting back into our in-person clinics. We've had to cap them for safety reasons. But COVID did have an impact on our work. I'll tell you this too, COVID had an impact on the nature of cases that we were assisting. I can't say that I saw the divorce rate go up because we tend to have a lot of divorce cases with MVLP. Certainly what I did see was a trend in the need for guardianships because you had mothers who were succumbing, dying as a result of COVID-19. And so you had children out there motherless, and fathers were either not ready to take on that responsibility or were not present. And I shouldn't say fathers. We had some mothers too who were not present to or available or fit to take care of their children as a result of the other parent dying to COVID. So we did see an influx in guardianship cases.
And they could have also been increased simply by the need of parents having to be present for the kids that were in school or out of school. Some people were not able to take off work. So if you're having to go to work, your child is in the house, so you may need to do a guardianship so that grandma can
take
have
care of their
child.
day-to-day needs. That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw an impact from a programmatic standpoint with the types of cases that we were taking on. So it did have a major impact on MVLP in terms of the delivery of services and the types of cases we were seeing. Now because we are slowly getting back into the groove of things this year, we have more people coming out in calling and wanting to do clinics, more partners, that is. So I'm looking forward to this year being filled with more in-person clinics so that we can actually have a human touch with the individuals that we're helping.
Yeah, that hands-on participation is so valuable.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So what does the phrase access to justice mean?
Mm-hmm. So access to justice is simply a term of art that we use to describe a person's ability to take part in the legal system. And what that means is, if you have a particular legal matter, you can use the legal system to advocate for yourself and advocate for your interests. You do not have to be intimidated by the lack of financial resources in order to have access to the court system. You're empowered with knowledge through legal clinics. You're empowered with knowledge through the use of attorneys who volunteer their time. So, like I said, it's a term of art that we use so that people will know that they have the ability to access the court system. Mississippi actually has an Access to Justice Commission. And the Access to Justice Commission was created by the Mississippi Supreme Court. And the role of the commission is to oversee those civil legal aid programs that provide services to individuals. And so what the commission does is make sure that there are videos that are housed on their website that will teach you how to represent yourself in court, what you need to wear, what do you need to say, how do you need to answer questions, just to prepare yourself for court. So when we talk about access to justice, we want our residents to know that you can still get your legal matter heard even if you cannot afford to hire an attorney. I mean, Monique, when you think about it, you have individuals who make $800 a month, okay? And this is what we see regularly. Individuals who make $800 a month, they have rent that they have to pay. They have food that they have to buy. They have children that they have to support, and supporting them off of $800. And when you think about, okay, I need to adopt my sister's child because, she's not able to take care of her child. Well, I don't have the disposable income to hire an attorney. If an attorney is asking for $3,000 to handle an adoption, if I'm living off of $800 a month, I don't have the funds to go and hire an attorney. Or if I need an expungement so that I can get a job, I don't have the funds to pay $500 to an attorney. I don't have the disposable income to pay $500 to an individual. So that's why access to justice is important. So there's a creation of programs like MVLP and clinic programs that can help you get those services despite having the lack of financial resources.
Right. And one of the programs that I see that you have initiated is the Mississippi Foreclosure Prevention Program, which right. I think is also very valuable with COVID because, people weren't working. Believe it or not, if you're not working, you don't get paid. And so it becomes this trickling effect to where you probably can't pay your rent. And so there were a lot of residents who faced foreclosure issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what we've seen in some cases is that some of the mortgage companies have provided loan modification assistance programs for individuals so that they don't have to go through the foreclosure process. But for some people, they have had to go through that process. And so we provide that foreclosure prevention assistance for them. What we're doing a lot more this year is providing know your rights so that you can take efforts now before it gets to foreclosure. And that's open to any homeowner. Steps that you need to take to prevent going into foreclosure. We've also extended that to helping with evictions. We have a lot of people who we formed a collaboration actually with a lot of other community agencies across the state to provide eviction assistance to those individuals who have applied for rental assistance through some of the programs here in Mississippi. So we're also working with, not just our homeowners, but our renter population as well in delivering those services. We've also, in addition to that program, we also administer what's called Mississippi Free Legal Answers. And that's a service that a lot of residents do not know about, but I do want to share that information. The Mississippi Free Legal Answers has been in existence since 2016, and Mississippi was one of the first 16 states in the nation to implement this program. This is probably the best unused tool that we have in Mississippi. And basically what it is it's a platform where you can go on that service. And if you qualify, you still have to qualify for legal services. If you qualify, you can simply ask a legal question on that platform. And if once an attorney sees that question, they will answer it. You're anonymous to that attorney. That attorney is anonymous to you. And it even allows you to upload documents, upload pictures. So if you're trying to ask your question, but you don't know, you want to show them, hey, this is what I'm talking about with this landlord situation that I have. This is what my living conditions look like. I can show you, I can upload that picture to you. You can see it. And that attorney can give legal advice and tell me where I need to go. And in some cases, we've seen attorneys say, hey, if you want to reach out to me from a pro bono standpoint, I'm available because the service is really just to ask your question. It's not to provide legal representation. But we have had connections made with that program, with people going above and with the attorneys going above and beyond and providing continued legal assistance. The program has grown in our law schools. We have a professor at Ole Miss who is now using this Mississippi Free Legal Answers platform for their law students. They choose a handful of questions that they're going to answer. And the law students are tasked with researching and helping the professor with crafting the answers to these questions. It has grown popular with some of our corporate legal departments in Mississippi and some of our larger law firms. They have formed partnerships to have a day where they just clear out all of the questions that are in the queue. If there are 50 questions that are waiting to be answered, these corporate legal departments and our large law firms come together and make it a day of fellowship with each other and answer these questions. They clear that queue and get people the guidance that they need to have their legal matter resolved. And that's what our overall goal is. We're hoping that we can get resolution in 100% of our cases, but if we can just equip the population with the knowledge that they need to navigate the court system, then, it's a successful program. So I do want to talk about that. We've extended into the federal court system with our Mississippi Settlement Assistance Program. And those cases are usually selected by the district court magistrate judge. And if it's a pro se litigant in federal court, they may determine that this case, that the pro se litigant needs someone to help them with the settlement conference. And so our attorneys will come in pro bono and help the individuals get their matters resolved in federal court through the mediation process with the magistrate judge. And we're about 98% successful with that program. I think we've only had one case that we have not been able to settle, but when our attorneys have come in, the courts are happy. The counsel opposite are happy, and the pro se litigant is happy when our attorneys have come in to help get those cases resolved for them. And our attorneys don't take a portion of those fees. They've donated their time. And so they've resolved the cases for the individuals, and the individuals get the full amount of the settlement case, the settlement value of the case for the individuals. So in your settlement assistance programs, is it devoted only to those that fit in the criteria of application? So it depends on what the magistrate judge usually makes the determination as to whether or not this case is going to go through the Mississippi Settlement Assistance Program. And it can be on a variety of matters. It's not just family law. We've had some against school districts. We've had some where there were estate, not estate, but interpleader matters. We've had some personal injury actions. We've had some Section 1983 actions through the Settlement Assistance Program. So, we were fortunate to receive a grant from the Federal Bar Association here in Mississippi to start that program. And then the American Bar Association provided us funds to expand it. And so we're able to continue to provide that program in our federal courts. So MVLP is present in the Chancery Courts, it's present in the circuit courts, and it's now present in the federal courts. And we're proud of our expansion. And that's what we do. We're here to help people who cannot afford legal services.
That's great. And definitely we're proud of your expansion. It's broad need, and it's good to be able to open up and aid and assist as many as possible. Now, you've mentioned attorneys. If we've got viewers that are interested in serving and volunteering, what are the steps that those individuals would need to take to help?
So they can go to www.mvlp.org, and they would go to the Get Involved tab. And the Get Involved...
Give me the email once more.
Yes, it's www.mvlp. Yeah, it's our website, .org. And they would go to the Get Involved tab. So those people who need assistance will go to Get Help. Go to the Get Help tab. The people who want to volunteer go to the Get Involved tab. And there is a form that you would complete. And if you want to participate in a clinic, or if you want to provide in-court representation, or courtroom representation, rather, if you want to provide that service to an individual, you can indicate that on your volunteer form. And we pull from those forms when we get ready to staff our clinics, or when we get ready to try to place cases. And the site for attorneys, we've tried to make the site more user-friendly, and we still have ways to go. We launched a new website about a year ago, and we're still trying to add on to it to make it more user-friendly for our attorneys. But the website will allow you to accept a case. It will allow you to keep your time on the case. And it will also allow you, and keeping your time allows you to track your pro bono, because in Mississippi, even though attorneys are not required to provide pro bono, they are encouraged to provide it. And it's mandatory that they report whether or not they have done pro bono. So our site allows them.
I think it's 20 hours.
Yes, it's 20 hours. And I want to say that to Monique, that, I do want the general public to know that attorneys are not required to do pro bono in Mississippi. And so those attorneys who volunteer with our organization, I applaud them. And, that's what's good about our legal profession, we do have individuals who take the oath that they take at the beginning of their legal career when they're sworn into practice. They take that oath seriously, that they're going to help the public, and that they're going to help the public for the delivery of services if they cannot afford it. And so, we're fortunate to have people in our profession who want to carry out that oath to its fullest. It's not required in Mississippi, but we have attorneys who, out of the kindness of their hearts, do the work with us. And 1 year we may not have as many attorneys as the next year, but I know that there are attorneys out there who want to do pro bono. And I know that there are some that are doing pro bono. They may not do it through MVLP. They may do it through a family member who calls them needing assistance. They may do it through a church member who needs assistance. I know that attorneys are out there doing pro bono, but it's not required of us to do it. And I don't say that so that we can get a pat on the back because we're doing this great service, but it is to be commended that we have a large population of our legal profession who is willing to step out there and donate their time and their service to individuals. But back to our website, we try to make it user-friendly for our attorneys to navigate the cases. We have, once you become a registered user and a volunteer of MVLP, we have a pro bono manual that has pleadings, sample pleadings in it. It has outlines for the types of cases that we help, so that you'll at least have some knowledge of what you're working on. And again, I'm also the resource that attorneys will contact if they have questions about how to handle their particular case. And those are usually the chancery court matters that I'll provide the most assistance on, because we have some attorneys who don't practice chancery, but they want to help. And so I will usually help them with training them and helping them to navigate that particular case matter, as well as navigating the court that they're in.
Wonderful, wonderful. Pat on the back, and hats off to all of the great people that make the sacrifice to serve pro bono. That is incredible. And also, I salute your organization that's there to support and be that change mechanism to make sure or ensure that those that need help can find it as it pertains to our legal system. And you mentioned Chancery Court. And so would you share with us or share with our viewers the big announcement as it pertains to Chancery for you?
Sure. I, on January 5th, qualified to run for Hinds County Chancery Court Judge, Subdistrict 5-3. It is a position that is currently occupied by Judge Denise Owens. She has occupied that seat since 1989, and she is one of the state's longest serving chancellors, if not the longest serving chancellor in the state of Mississippi. And she has decided to retire at the end of 2022. And so I qualified for that seat mainly for several reasons. For 17 years, I have been practicing law. And since the beginning of my career, a large part of my work has been in Chancery Court. Even when I switched to doing civil defense work for representing insurance companies, I did pro bono work, doing family law work and practicing in Chancery Court. And of course, for the last 7 years, my work has been probably 97, 99% Chancery devoted. And I'm a resident of Hinds County, so the experience is there. I've practiced in 16 of the 20 Chancery Court districts in the state of Mississippi. And that has allowed me to see how, not just how Hinds County handles their Chancery Court docket, but other courts. I see the structure. I know the structure. I see the people. I know the people's needs. So the experience is there. The integrity is there. Of course, I don't walk into anything without having the support of family, colleagues, and the public. And so when you have individuals who come up to you and say, I appreciate everything that you do for me. I appreciate your candor. I appreciate just your willingness to serve. Then that's an indicator to me that I need to take my career to another level in terms of support and service. I have been of service for 18 years, primarily and largely for the last 8 years. So, the experience, the integrity, the commitment to our judicial system is also there. And as I told you with MVLP, I've expanded to various courts because the commitment to our court system is there. And so, I'm excited to be a candidate for this position. The election is November 8th, 2022. So I have some months to go. But, I thank you for allowing me to even talk about that, talk about my candidacy today. I really spent a lot of hours thinking and praying about that decision and talking with my husband and just making sure that my family would be okay. I have a child that's going to be entering high school in the fall, and just making sure that everything is okay before I stepped into that. And so after prayer, after consultation with my family, after consultation with several seasoned colleagues that I trust and who I revere, I decided to go ahead and make that decision. And again, I'm excited to put my 18 years or close to 18 years of chancery work on the bench.
Awesome. And thank you for sharing your platform. I guess my other question, or what comes to mind, is you sharing the name of a mentor. Do you have someone that may have, because you've got a lot, you're just doing great things. So I think it would be good for you to share who's influenced and impact this great career.
Well, certainly. It will start all the way back to Tougaloo, almost 25 years ago, Monique. But, Constance Slaughter Harvey was a professor of mine at Tougaloo, and everyone knows Constance Slaughter Harvey. She was the first African-American female to graduate from the University of Mississippi School of Law. Yes. She was one of my professors. Judge Denise Owens was one of my professors. She was my legal writing. I took a legal writing course at Tougaloo through the pre-law department, and she was one of my professors. Reuben V. Anderson, who was the first African-American to graduate from Ole Miss School of Law and to serve on the Supreme Court. So all of those people I consider to be people who I admire and look up to. And then it starts with my career, Halbert Dawkins, Ellie Turnage, Earl Banks. Those are the first three individuals who took me under their wings and provided guidance to me as a young attorney, not knowing anything, but thinking she knew everything. They took me under their wings, and, I still talk to them to this day. There's several judges, and I won't call their names in particular, but there are several judges who have just been a support to me throughout my entire career. And I don't mean just when I started with MVLP. I mean throughout my journey as an attorney. My sister, who's an attorney, she's 3 years older than me in the profession. And so
she practice here in Hinds County?
She is in Warren County. She is the municipal court judge in Vicksburg. And she had a long career as a prosecutor in the district attorney's office over there. She was the first female district attorney in Warren County. And so she was my mentor. She was the person who I called crying to in Florida, and she was in Mississippi telling her that I was going to pack up my bags and come home because law school was just not for me. It was difficult for me. So she's a mentor. Attorney John Hall is a mentor to me. That's how I've met certain people in organizations. I just have so many. And I'm blessed to have them. The attorneys at Wells, Marble, and Hearst are mentors. They took me under their wings and provided me with a job. And I learned how to practice premises liability work from a defense standpoint and insurance defense. So I just have so many people to thank for my career. And, I'm glad to have, I'm glad to stand on their shoulders. And I know they're proud of me. A lot of them have said that. And a lot of them have said, I didn't realize that you would take such a bold step like this, but I'm glad that you did. And I think you'd be perfect for the position. So, just those people, just having mentors are important, especially for a woman. It's important for us to have mentors. It's important for us to have champions around us because life is hard. And trying to be a mother, trying to be a wife, and then trying to practice is even tougher. So it's good to have people surrounding you who support you and who love you and who care about you. And it's that support that's going to take me through these next few months through my candidacy.
Yeah, well, on Legally Speaking, we always like to have our guests share those folks that have been instrumental in helping them move into doing great things. And that's what you've been doing. So I'm glad you shared those folks that and highlighted all of the roles that they've played in helping you be successful.
Monique, I have to say one more person. I'm sorry, because that's why it's not good to start naming people. Yeah. But Dr. Charles Holmes, who was a longtime pre-law professor and pre-law director at Tougaloo College. He's retired now, of course, but he played the biggest role because as a 19-year-old, not sure if she wanted to go to law school, he made sure that I was in the right direction of people to meet. He worked to make sure that recruiters from a lot of the major universities, a lot of the major law schools came to our school to help us and to help us understand the process. And we could meet one-on-one with a lot of these admission counselors. So he was just a gift to me. And if I mention no one else, I have to mention Dr. Charles Holmes because he played the biggest impact in my career. And that's how I got to the University of Florida because of his mentorship to me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being with us. This interview went by so fast.
It did.
Just a lot of great information. And I just want to say thank you to you and your spirit of serving. That's what it takes for us lawyers to make it work. Our goal is to help, and to serve. A lot of people don't understand that, but that's the perspective that I have on our profession. It's to serve. And you're stepping in and stepping up with a goal to reach up into another level. And I commend you on that.
Thank you.
And so before we are off, I would like to thank our viewers one more time and to invite them to be a part of Legally Speaking next week. It's a weekly podcast. And so we just want to make sure folks know to join us on Mondays at 6. I am Monique Montgomery from Gibbs Travis Law Firm, and I am glad and happy to be your host. To our president of Women for Progress, Willie Jones, who's always there making it happen, thank you. We appreciate you and your leadership. Gayla, thank you. And call us if you need us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you, and thank you, Ms. Jones, for the opportunity, and thank you for just even having this platform for us. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That concludes our podcast. Good night, everyone. See you next Monday.
Good night.